What's up, guys? How we doing? Welcome to the fabulous Las Vegas Strip. We're up here on the 40th story of Las Vegas Boulevard. This is where people come from around the world doing what? They're trying to get rich. What's up, Caspa fam? Let's switch over to the super chat stream. What's up, Caspa fam? We're in the house crunching numbers right now. China just dropped a bomb overseas, market stimulus. This could have the potential to disrupt entire trading plans. Starting off with Cody, as of right now, there is a KRC20. I just opened it up in the Discord that should be available. Ben Riley, thanks for doing these live streams. Live streams are super great to do. One of the difficulties with live streams is getting the technology up. We had Sin City Crypto come down here, build a studio in the condo. We're ready to go. The reason why we start the video with a poker game is because we're playing a zero-sum game right now. Except for this game has been set up for years, and the players in it almost have an unfair advantage. Satoshi knew this, and he built his secret around that. Now, we don't have time to explain Satoshi's secret every single video for those of you who are coming back or those of you who just found this channel, but you'll start to pick up on it as we go. Satoshi, knowing his way around the bond markets, knowing his way around the economic world, constructed Bitcoin in a way. So during the global liquidity phases, as the central banks control everything, Bitcoin's in place to absorb more than its fair share of liquidity. It just started automatically growing like a fungus that Satoshi built, aligning the halving with the global liquidity. And as we get into this detail, we're going to start taking a look at some of the players at this poker table right now and how they're playing their hand, because that's the secret that we've been using even before we got into crypto, back when we were trading stocks. Did you know that the GameStop phenomenon happened almost within 30 days of the Bitcoin top? Did you guys even realize that? Right here, February 20th, and it's all because of this unlocking of bond liquidity as the feds are cutting rates. This is how central banks control the world. They load it up. We'll take a look at a new chart for people that are coming back. This is the 10/2 Treasury yield, and this is another way of showing how much cash is trapped in the bond market. When there's too much money in the bond market, people are projecting there's going to be a recession coming up. Hence the fact that back here during the last cycle and right now, the Fed is cutting rates down because they're trying to push this bubble of cash out of Fed DeFi onto the street. This includes Wall Street. Crypto's a passenger with Wall Street in the big picture of things. And China, they're the ones who just dropped a bomb because they dumped an entire stimulus package. So they started printing cash to the tune of 114 billion. Is the sound echoing right now? Maybe the plugins aren't in. Is anybody hearing a problem with the sound, or is the sound legit? Yeah, I think it's going to be good. That might be your personal device. So they've released this within the last 48 hours. 114 billion. Now, inside VIP, we were going to the depth of tracking the bond auctions, as we can see on this paperwork right here. We've actually pulled up when the Fed is starting to sell bonds to the general market. This is a minimum of 417 billion, at least. Could very well be closer to $1 trillion in bonds, making sense because as they're cutting rates, they want to get their hands on more bonds. Who's that? The other players at our poker table. We've got to consider the biggest players, which is the central banks. We've got to take a look at the teams. The teams will do everything in their power to hide things inside the paperwork.
Can we see the paperwork on those?
Deceiving what kind of connections, what kind of use case the projects actually have. The majority of crypto projects aren't really going to get a obscene amount of use from retail. But the select projects that are, like Caspa and like some artificial intelligence projects that have just seen enormous upside based on this Fed data, the team has nothing to hide there. This is why Caspa is always so transparent with everything that they're doing. We've also, alongside of this bond auction, putting all of this data together, we started projecting how strong will this rally be? This is when we're going to start getting right into the technical analysis right now, discerning whether there's going to be a secondary leg up in the entire crypto market, or this is it. We're topping out right now and everything is going to pull back to the downside. And we can see our original projection inside VIP, we could actually pull up the post, was stating that we're going to hit a double top with this previous spike. Guess what happened right here? Exactly. Bond auctions on August 26th. Knowing this inside retail, we recognize inside VIP, we recognize that there would be a retrace back to the downside. Highlighting the fact that there is so much to help you grow as a trader inside our VIP, mainly because everybody else on social media is talking about catalysts that are not truly the source of the money. They're not actually what's causing the driving force. Great example is Kaspa's KRC20 launch, going parallel with a new exchange. Ended up turning to the downside because it's actually the bond market that's always been the #1 spearhead movement on crypto. February 20th to June 15th, looking at the Bitcoin chart, it's the run up top and the exact low. And you're telling me that you've got a catalyst that caused that? That's not the bonds. This is where the money's coming from. So inside VIP, we have broad view perception on utilizing these with the 3 phases. What's going on right now has everything to do with that. And every trade we take, we're incorporating this knowledge. This is Satoshi's secret. It just so happens that right around the last halving cycle 4 years ago, they were cutting rates again. Do we think that's a coincidence? Is the FOMC working with Bitcoin? No. Satoshi's genius programmed that all in. So back to where we're at right now. On the total 3, we're actually forming this double top right around 623. So tomorrow morning we wake up and this is at 6:30. This is a signal that we're going to start to get an extension to the upside. But even stronger is the Bitcoin chart. As we've seen massive resistance starting way back here. This was during the prior bond auction. So we actually have identical paperwork to what we're looking at right in front of us from this last top. So we're seeing a double top on Bitcoin's chart. And guess what's fundamentally happening? causing this downside. And right now, it's supposed to be starting to gas out this rally right now. That was our theory. Of course, China stepping up, printing money and cutting rates at the same time. They are overstimulating the Chinese market. Now we can start to do some accounting, start to size up how much of this cash is actually going to flow into cryptocurrency. And it's hard to say directly. Otherwise, if this was another country without a centralized economy like China, and they were doing this type of stimulus, it would be way more bullish for crypto. So we're utilizing technical analysis in combination with fundamental, and we've got a clear sight on when the trigger to the upside will take place. Now, if this kicks off, where do you guys think that we're going to end up? Probably 70,000 at least, right? Easily runs up to 70,000. As we can see historically, we're at this sort of down sloping 70K. It's a psychological round number level. We can definitely get right up there. But 65 has its psychological power of itself, especially with this bullhorn double top that we're forming right now. And we can go a step deeper and start looking at indicators. A lot of people I hear that are using their charting do stochastic RSI. Getting ready for the short. Way to keep yourself fit. This guy is setting an example for Caspa owners. Right now, we are loading our bags with Caspa. We're forward linking. We're the front guys. This is another reason why everybody should subscribe to this channel right now, as well as hit the like button. It's the guys who have social media skills, audio, video editing, that oftentimes gets the top spot. And they send a lot of misinformation into the Caspa community. One of the number one driving is once Coinbase and Binance buys it, that will never happen in a million years because Coinbase and Binance don't provide the liquidity on Coinbase and Binance. They deal the business to Jane and Jump Street market makers. Sometimes they'll take a piece of the action for their head, but that's not how it works. And of course, this rabbit hole goes way deeper. All the way back. Remember the GameFi hype that was going on like a year ago? That is completely ignoring the three phases of the bull run. And this plays into exactly what just happened in the FOMC. So we had the sell-off phase here, then we have this accumulation. And what you want to start getting in first, looking historically, this is that February 20th date right here. So this is when GameStop reaches its height. I actually showed my GameStop trades in other videos. I have them on my older computer. This is when GameStop peaked. This is when Bitcoin hit 60,000. This is when altcoins load up. But because they're altcoins, they need to build on chain, which requires a distribution phase. This is phase 2. And this is why AI just took off.
Starting now.
Yeah, AI is getting to the next level.
Neural net processor, a learning computer.
Of course, we know in China and overseas, they enjoy robots. There's a lot of heavy robotic investing. Looking at the Fed's new schedule, I'll bring it up right here. They're planning on holding rates down into 2027. So what does this mean for us as retail traders? We're sitting at the poker table, playing a zero-sum game with the Fed, and we know they're planning on prolonging the rate reduction. This was their previous plan right here. They're like, we're going to cut to 5.1, 4, then 3. Just recently, they stepped it up. We're like, we're going to bring this down to the 2s, and we're going to hold it there for a longer period of time. What that looks like here is a bigger distribution. What that looks like on the total 3, just so you soak this in completely. This is the run up right here. We'll put an arrow there, run up, bonk. And then this is the distribution. And then here, the sell-off, this is when they start raising rates. They control everything. And what you're going to hear on social media from these Ed, you are not wrecked yet. A lot of times we are way too hard on ourselves. You're still in the game. It's still super early right now. So don't let that get you down or discouraged at all. What this means, looking at the FOMC calendar, is the rates are going to be held down even longer. On the total 3, this is a bigger distribution, which means the teams and projects can build for longer, more development, and this is great for Caspa, particularly as a new listing. My personal price projection on Caspa is during the run-up phase, we'll hit about $1.50 to $2.50 on the more bullish side. But then during the distribution, the KII starts kicking in. They develop the Trader Joe utility coins on Caspa. Now Caspa starts ripping to $5 to $10. And we've done that with a detailed accounting in previous videos. We're going to skip over that for right now. K Crypto brings up an interesting point. Everything is pumping except for Caspa. Let's zoom out and look at this retrospectively. You guys remember back here, all the way from June to August, what was happening on the total 3 chart? It was a total bloodbath at one point, and still even at this point today, because of this massive sell-off. This channel was the #1 performing because of our connection to the bond rates, allowing us to get in on Caspa early. We didn't vet the project deeply. We just noticed while they were raising rates, caused a massive sell-off in altcoins right here. We were actually shorting AVAX. Jane Street dumped all their legacy positions. This was like a bloodbath a year ago. All the other content creators were like, go long, it's altcoin season, just completely having no idea that as the Fed is raising the bond rate, they're inviting the investment bankers at that poker game to come play their DeFi game, which is bonds. Look what happened with Caspa at the same time. And this is our secret sauce that we help use when we start vetting AI projects. Back to your statement about SUI and C pumping and everything. I see your dry powder questions. We just got disconnected on the super chat. We'll have to keep rolling like this. Look what happened with Caspa. Right while that bloodbath was going on, we're going to use this right now with AI. Bloodbath. Oh my God, Caspa. Oh, they're loading up. And so this told me immediately, after having experience with the bond market as a day trader in the stock market, you've got to know this stuff. If you go and check out stock YouTube, every content creator is always talking about bonds. Stocks and bonds go hand in hand. And you're like, well, wait a minute. I'm not trading bonds.
I pity the fool.
I'm trading crypto. They go hand in hand because that's where the money comes from. Planes, trains, hospitals, schools, army tanks, everything comes from bonds. So it's stocks and bonds. What this chart shows is how FOMC reactive Caspa is. And the reason why it wasn't pumping is because, well, back here, Marathon Digital announced, oh yeah, we've actually been mining Caspa since September, which means they've been planning it for months even before that. Probably down here, in my opinion, is when they started scooping it up. Look at this, FOMC meeting happens. We did a 10x leverage trade call out on the main channel for this one. God candle. The Bitcoin ETF, FOMC happens. Now, this is the funk, and we're going to see this has actually happened before for Caspa. We're not out of the races. This is just Caspa with its 1 year halving on its own time frame. Look at what happened right here from February 5th to February 20th, and then we sell off. But on the total 3, it's a whole new picture. This is that January to February pump on altcoins. It was not as powerful as Caspa's pump. This is just like a 10% hop. And then as Caspa sold off, altcoins rocketed. So your SUIs and your Cs, those other projects started ripping to the upside. And actually part of this was the artificial intelligence narrative. Going way back in the day, there was the Alex Becker pick NAI, which we found in VIP 24 hours before he listed it. That was a great sign showing how you don't want to be. There's entire channels about, hey, let's copy Alex Becker. Great idea, wrong guy to copy. Let's copy the investment bankers, because they are the ones that are going to control the market. So great idea, wrong guy to copy. We do something similar to that, but we're copying the right people. These guys that are pumping Caspa after the FOMC meetings. And they right now are pumping AI. How many of us have AI in our bag right now? So inside our VIP and on the main channel, we always talk diversification, not a good idea. You can hear Mark Cuban. I should actually get this as a sound effect. He says, diversification is for idiots. You're diversifying against your own human error, and you can't diversify enough not to correct your mistakes. And to top it off, you're now adding a level of human error. We're all going to make mistakes. The market can change on a dime. Now you're handling not a handful of positions, but you've got 15. So the amount of gains that you see on the screen and the amount you're going to put in the bank, and that's what I want. This is a beautiful penthouse on Las Vegas Strip. Very lucky to be living here. But I'm not on the tip top of this building, and that would be epic. And in order to do that, we can't diversify. We've got to vet the projects correctly, understand Satoshi's secret, which we're not going to explain in detail, and that plays directly into Caspa's price projection. We have old live streams covering that. So that gives us the 3 phases of the market: the run-up, the distribution, and then the sell-off. Understanding that alone will help us massively in DCAing and take profit. The biggest mistakes we're making isn't going to be buying. We're all here early. The loss of gains, the human error that everyone's about to catch is on selling in 18 months. A great idea. We've got some Kaspa sharks in the group, and they're like, yeah, I just want to get ready. I just want to do a $300 leverage trading account and stay active, learn the Kaspa chart. There's nobody online right now that called short Kaspa off the KRC20 launch. And it's based on this repeating trendline system. Crypto's different than the stock market, and this TA has never been published. Every single crypto chart, and this plays into AI with Tau. Let's zoom out here. There's this thing known as the repeating trendline system. These are the exact same 2 identical Fibonacci pitch. Wait till we zoom in on Tau. Look at this. We actually put this on the Tau chart. Let me get it lined up. There we go. We put this on the Tau chart here, like on September 20th. And then look what happened. Every trend line is a massive contact point. Zooming out, we can see on the prior run up on the exact same Fibonacci pitch. Once it broke, this is maximum contact points. This is nothing unique to this charting system. You can see these downward x-axis price channels, and then this massive sell-off right here. This is going to give us insight into what's going to happen on top of this bull flag, because it very well could do exactly this: double top and then jump up to the blue zone. And then we find our downward price channel. And we see the same thing on Caspa with these repeating downward price channels. It's just an unpublished augmentation of the power law, like flattening a map out from a globe. Yes, crypto is super fun and it's very healthy, especially when you do it in combination with good habits. Well, Ed, I can hear you guys talking in the chat about Tau, which has had this massive run up. Even if it jumps up to the blue zone, as we can see here, we're right here now. It's very realistic to think we're going to get a better price up ahead. And the reason why we're doing this emergency broadcast right now is because the reason that China's stepping in, the reason why Powell's cutting rates is they want to stop the pain. So in the United States, yeah, you can see it directly on crypto. This is the pain, the downside. Risk on assets going to the downside. This is happening on a broader sense in all different types of markets, jobs, housings, everything. So before it gets bad, because they don't want it to get bad, it's harder to fix when you're really bleeding. They're already like, hey, before this gets out of control, which we can see clearly on the 10/2 yield, let's start deflating this giant bubble of cash we have. In China, it's even worse. The pain in China is real. Another great chart in this repeating trendline system is Ethereum. We can see this zoomed out. We'll zoom out in a moment so you can get the full perspective. Just like Tau, just like Caspa, with those repeating trend lines. That's one of the theses for how we were able to find out when Caspa would stop. We not only said it's going to stop, we knew precisely in VIP, it will stop on this trend line for weeks in advance. It's a very unpublished system that's insanely accurate. It's almost Twilight Zone level insight. We have full videos and posts about how to learn it, and we always combined it. You know, you want to combine it with fundamental data. So not only is Caspa running into this wall, there's bond auctions. We know Caspa very bond reactive. So now we can definitely have a thesis. Caspa's not going to break out, putting it all together. That's how we do it. One thing that makes me very upset is ugly TA. I can see Skater GTV talking about some meme coins, and we'll get into that for our next time diversification. As meme coins throughout the bull run cycle oftentimes are later in the distribution zone. And this is, of course, going right back to how long the Fed is planning on holding rates down, which creates this longer span. And remember, as soon as this went back up, June 17th, party's over. To the day, to the dollar. June 17th. June 17th. So anybody throwing some other theory like the moon was full or, you know, this happened with the team, they are supplementing. And a lot of times they're very clever and intelligent, but they're supplementing the real drivers and they're not teaching good trading. This is what it all comes down to right here. Bonds, stocks and bonds. So AI ripping to the upside instead of getting Tau. And just because it has a big market cap doesn't mean anything. We've got a different selection. Let's actually get into Crypto Rank. This is my favorite website. Super powerful. Oh, there's my master list. We're going to get off that. Okay. This is the top-notch search engine crypto listing that you can find. So we're going to start off excluding 10 million and under. We're not doing a microcap search. And then we're going to go, we don't even have to look for AI. Let's just do that alone. And we're going to see what's performed the best over the past 7 days.
Exciting now.
And of course, we've got some super micro cap meme coins. We could probably bump that up to 25 million and get a slightly better result, getting some of these really goofy ones out of there. We'll say 40. All right, never mind. Let's just get back to this. Exclude the random meme coins. So what we're seeing right here in the final column is how much these have gone up. So we've got meme coins, $1 billion cat. Anybody in Discord remember when we talked about this as a new listing? $1 billion cat. One of the things that we do inside VIP is track new listings using a fairly clever vetting schedule. Here we go. Even including all these random garbage projects, right? Like cat meme coins that nobody's ever heard of that have such a minimum market cap. They doubled up. Look at this. 01 Labs. I've got the report right in my hands. We've been all over this in VIP the whole time. We vetted this. This is my third biggest bag. I've only got 3 projects. Caspa, this, and Spectral. As we get closer to the run-up phase and my gains are locked in on these, I can't even buy any more Caspa because I already bought so much. The amount I can save every month won't even phase my hodl bag. So it's like I'm forced out of buying Caspa. I can't even do it anymore. And if you just got on the scene right now and you've got dry powder, definitely keep, instead of being like, I'm going to spread it out into 3-4 projects right now. Don't do that. Go heavy into one and maybe start a side bag of your second best pick. Concentrate on those. And then in 6 months, your number one bag will be big enough, plus the gains you've expected. You won't be able to affect your hodl position as much. Now switch to your second position. And then on the side, build a third. You see what I'm saying? And then also have a side bag that you leverage trade with responsible price management. That's something that we're going to do in VIP, is come up with some money management that will lead you to success with leverage trading. You don't want to overtrade. Sometimes you want to stack up. Imagine if we can catch the entire run-up phase on leverage, right? That would be an amazing trade. Of course, that's not happening for another year. And the way to do it isn't wait for it to happen. The way to do it is to continuously leverage trade, small account challenge, if you will. Build onto it, and as your experience grows and as your opportunities become more clear, till you're like, oh, this is the best. I got to get some more cash out for this. Go ahead and do so. And keep in mind, we don't just have a year until the run up, and then we've got more trades to make inside it. We've got 2 years of trading, a year until the run up. So there's no need to rush. There's no need to do an enormous leverage trade all of a sudden. That's not wise. So anyway, back to the gem hunting. Aquaman is the guy, though. So there's so many different levels of intellect and knowledge, and Aquaman is just the full package. Like, wow. Can you imagine that? He had the cash and he knew enough about investing to go all in. That's how you do it. No exaggeration. We've got the most gains of everybody on social media. Part of the reason we were sitting around and waiting, knowing the 3 phases of crypto, knowing that this was the start of the sell-off, knowing Powell was going to raise rates again here. And we said, okay, you know what? We could hear all this chatter like altcoin season's coming soon. And we were like, that is going to get everybody wrecked. You don't buy crypto when the FOMC is raising rates. That's just ludicrous nonsense. And that's what a lot of people ended up doing, is coming up with their own hypothesis and theory to replace the bond market. And it's just gobbledygook. Pure gobbledygook. And we can see that with the GameFi phenomenon. God bless the Peach Fuzz Mafia, but you guys remember how all the other Caspa content creators were like talking about GFAL, Lit Labs, PlayZap, like way back. That was when you want to start building projects that are going to have a big run up, your layer ones. You know what our other pick was? Zetrix. Some space age project from the middle of nowhere. Looking at this Ethereum chart on the 1 day, you can see these repeating trend lines. See all the support and resist. Oh, the battery's down on the camera. Let me get that back up. You can see all the report. Yeah, we can see all the support and resistance lines, just like on Tau, just like on Caspa, providing us with these extra layers of insight. And we have full videos training on how to set these up on any chart. And they're from the fact that cryptos have a halving and emission schedule. We know this creates ripples on the chart, but we can also chart those ripples along every different scale. So continuing the gem hunting, right now is the time to buy the artificial intelligent projects. Look at this massive runner. We also had Blender. Now we do have a 24-point report on Blender. We have 7 of these filled out. What this is this is a checklist that ensures when you're gem hunting a project, what do a lot of people do? They click on it. Inside Crypto Rank, you get a ton of additional information. This one doesn't have a lot to talk about, but let's look at Spectral just for an example. Oh yeah, we got to do the 7-day change. And you get a layer of additional insight on this web page. Here's Spectral, one of the top 100 gainers over the last 7 days. Probably higher. Look at what it shows us right here. Polychain Capital. They're backing it. We can even see the tokenomics right here. And we have other tools that can do other weird stuff in these 24-point reports. It's just, you know, it's very above the shoulders, numbers, acidic stuff. It doesn't make good video content. It's better to read because you got to use the tool yourself. You got to compare the projects side by side. They're locking up all their tokens on Spectral. We can see right up here, the next token unlock, 7 months. 7 months. And this is my number 1 pick besides Caspa. And we've been building a bag pretty hardcore. Now, the big question on everybody's mind is this, and this is coming down to that question on Bitcoin. There's kind of a symmetrical triangle right here. The symmetrical triangle will perform when it breaks to the upside like this, 150 to 250% on average price gains. So at 150 from $5-6, we're easily hitting 12, 13. We're possibly hitting even new all-time highs. I'd say 13 is a very fair assumption. Now, can that sell back off and show me 9 again? Yeah, but if Bitcoin's going to keep ripping, if we're going to hit 70 and then our total 3, remember we were talking about that double top on the total 3? If this is going to start cooking, the cold storage go-to play is more Spectral. But we don't want to jump the gun on this. We indefinitely want to wait for this to gas out. And the only thing keeping it alive right now, this bond auction sucking loads of liquidity out of the market, over 400 billion. Perhaps it's more rumor mill orientated, but the stimulation in China Definitely adding to this upside. Now, historically, we measured this, we tracked this 7 ways from Sunday inside VIP. Your average rate cuts are going to have a 7 to 9 day rally, especially the first one. So this is the hype going into it. The first rate cut happens here, and then look, pretty decent run up. And you see the same thing on Bitcoin. So there's nothing outside of our original hypothesis that included downside at the apex of this pennant, which is forming on the 1st of November. This falling wedge also here as we reach. Look at this nice run to the upside, but later, just more sell-off. Right now, because the Fed is cutting rates, because all of this is happening, it's showing us, yes, Shell is potentially tied with Caspa, and we'll get into that in a moment. That's kind of off the subject, but it has to do with the distribution phase. What these rate cuts are showing us, everybody's so gung-ho bullish about it, but they're showing us that there's a potential recession ahead. Recessions are bad for markets. So looking at that from a technical analysis standpoint, let's see these two falling wedges again. The falling wedge, a very bullish pattern, breaks to the upside 90% of the time. Almost as bullish as the cup and handle. So when you see a clear falling wedge, it's going to go up. And I don't have the data on me, but we have printouts inside VIP. You can add it right to your trading journal of what the falling wedge is going to perform. And we have even more examples inside the classic pattern directory. It goes up significantly. I mean, we can even look at this prior one right here. It looks like it increased 50%. That's probably the most accurate model right there. So after it initially broke out, did some sideways action to the apex, sideways action to the apex, and then running up to 50% would get it around the January factor to right about here, back to get this exact same repeating resistance line. And this line's all over the chart. We can see it, especially when you zoom in right here, very clear application of it. And it's affecting the price in some way, shape, or form right now. So the hypothesis that we built based on loads of data and technical analysis and historic is this is it. This is the top of the post FOMC rate cut rally. And what happened is the market makers, the investment bankers, they showed us their hand. We know what they're buying now. They're buying AI, specifically Spectral. They're just like loading the bag. This isn't retail. And when you read the 24-point checklist, combining the roadmap with step 13, strategic partners, you'll know immediately how monstrously big this is going to be. So they're both made by Polychain Capital. Almost like Bitcoin and then Caspa's Bitcoin 2.0, in my opinion. After researching the subnets on Tau, how that works, Spectral's Tau 2.0. They're changing the game, and it's dynamically built to draw money on chain more than any other project I've seen, which is very unique. Yes, reading the white papers it's challenging. And inside the 24-point checklist, a lot of people, when they vet a crypto project, they think, well, I'm going to do this all in my head. I know crypto like the back of my hand, and you do. This is the thing. You could be a manager at Dairy Queen. Let's say you're Wojak. You work at McDonald's. You've been working there for 5 years, making the fries every morning when you get up. The thing is, without a checklist to make sure that the cooler temps were good. The drawer till is right. The onions are sliced. The rush is going to come in. Someone's going to get food poisoning because you didn't check the temp. You're going to run out of onions. There's not going to be any quarters. You're going to need to ask people for $1 bills. It's all going to go flaming down. And that's a fast food stand. We're talking about vetting a complex coding asset. So we need to have a system written down to do it. I actually build franchises out, like taking mom and pop yogurt stands and then franchising them around and building systems, managed learning systems and standard operating procedures is something that I have a background in. And we just applied that into learning and teaching everybody crypto. You can be the greatest trader in the world, but terrible at teaching it, and your VIP isn't going to do a lot for people. I think people are getting a load from our VIP based on the standard operating procedure and the managed learning systems. One thing I hate is copy trading. That's all you get. And it's usually like, you got 15 minutes to press buy. We plan everything way in advance. And right off the FOMC, we're 7 days out. This is the top performing 50 projects in all of crypto. We didn't even filter just AI. This is everything. Everything. Show me the best picks. Okay. Guess what? That's my bag. We've got a 24-point report on that. We've got a report on this, but we ended up giving it a no buy because it's a plug and play. It can rug early. It's kind of more of a lottery ticket. It can see some upside, but just fundamentally, it doesn't have a massive use case. For anybody who was around for the last bull market, plug and plays can do well, but I wouldn't go with this as a majority position. Netmind is actually connected to DEAI. So DEAI and Netmind kind of move together. And then we've got Spectral right here. So out of the top 50 best projects, we've got 24-point reports on those. So you can know everything about them. And you want to know everything about them because that's going to help you build your own concepts of purchasing and selling. So people are like, well, which one should I buy right now? DEAI or Spectral? Going with Spectral first and DEI next makes sense after you really dig into the fundamentals. And you know DEAI is undoubtedly a late blooming distribution phase project. I mean, it can run in the right climate, which the Fed is building. They need to keep those rates down, give us a longer bull run, and DEAI can go nuclear. So my spins on meme coins in general, treat them like GameFi. So one way to avoid meme coins in general, because I hear, let's say Galaxy for an example. I have respect for Galaxy out of the Peach Fuzz Mafia way back in the day. 400, 500 days ago, we were some of the only guys covering Caspa. It was me, Galaxy, and Crypto John, but Crypto John diversifies, so he's in every project. Galaxy and I kind of chatted, and I told him I went all in on Caspa. And I was like, going all in is way better. He originally had 5 picks: Shiba Inu, PIP, BNB, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Caspa, all split out basically evenly. And my interpretation of that is he had a feeler portfolio and he was trying to look for the rocket, and then he was just going to consolidate into that. So right around the 5-cent mark, I was like, dude, you should go all in. I did one of my Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Mark Cuban diversification is for fools videos. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm going to go all in on Caspa too, and then just do side bags. So meme coins come up. Now his strategy, we got kind of sidetracked. Robert Hernandez, you were asking
about meme coins. Galaxy's idea is to get like a 5-bagger, to get a handful of these, and one of them's going to hit. Some of them aren't going to do anything. Some of them are going to do okay, but one's going to hit. That's true. I'll give you that. Here's the issue. Actualizing those gains. So we can give you 5 hidden cups with an enormous amount of treasure inside them, and you can play this game of actualizing the trades. And even as somebody who does in-depth technical analysis in combination with fundamentals, selling is going to be tough, guys. That's our biggest zone for human error, is actualizing gains. So that plan with meme coins is going to look awesome on screen, and it's going to look terrible in the bank. It is not going to make you rich. It will be fun. It will be exciting. One of them will go up insanely high, but you're not going to get that in the bank. I mean, you're lottery ticketing with your own human error, and that's not something that you want to put yourself in that position. Way better would be to get the utility coin like the Trader Joe on AVAX, because that's basically like owning all the meme coins. It's like an ETF of them, because they have to be swapped through there. Therefore, you're getting more of a sure thing.
Throwing darts at a board sport. I don't throw darts at a board. I bet on sure things.
The lock-in game. You'll get that, and having a larger bag of it, now you can extract a massive amount of human error. For one, how many of you guys are Caspa maxis? Easy to do the charting. Every night when you go to sleep, you've got your custom Amazon Caspa pillow. You put your head on it, you close your eyes, and you draw the chart out in your mind, remembering everything that was happening in the macroeconomics, in the social media as it was unrolling. Right? Just draw that chart every night before you go to sleep, and you will dream about the chart. You're just in tune with it. The more you've traded on it, the more you've been staring on it, the more accurate you can get. There is nobody that's as accurate as I am on the Caspa chart. I'm the king of the Caspa chart. From putting in those hours, putting in those work, staying active with 1%, 0.5% bags. We got the 10x leverage trade here. We got the cold storage buy right here. We got the at 12.25 and 13.3, 10x and 7x leverage trades that survived the BOJ carry wick to the downside. We also got the KRC20 is going to be stopped exactly where it got stopped. And this is all part of the repeating trend line system. Actually, looking in the classic pattern library, Caspa's most common pattern is a symmetrical triangle, and it combines those two repeating trend lines together. Looking at the head and shoulders, we actually posted a stop loss heads up right before the BOJ carry wick took down, recognizing Caspa's massive bearish position when we zoom in closer with these head and shoulder patterns. It's always creating a head and shoulders when things get bearish. And we recognize that instantly. Look at here, head and shoulders, head, shoulder, and then like barely another shoulder, and then the drop. Spec is in a bear flag pattern. Interesting read. I see what you're saying. Because it's a rising wedge, awesome. And this is great because we're anticipating the pullback. Most importantly is Bitcoin stays below 65,000, and then we've got our total 3 read as well. Because once Bitcoin gets going, it's over. Now there's more indicators that we were using, and actually we had, if anybody was paying attention, earlier today, Bitcoin was forming its first red candle. And there's a direct indicator that kind of gives away to that. These are called oscillators. So they swing back and forth like a hypnotist pendulum, similar to RSI. They give loads of insight. If you're looking to enter a position, you're like, oh, let's go long or let's go short. I can actually show you how we anticipated using these on Caspa to get into the short leverage trades, because they offer so much insight. All right, can't find it right now, but what we were saying is right here's when we queued the short on Caspa pre-FOMC meeting, but we are also saying if you wait for the stochastics to rise up, you can get contact off of this trend line again and get a better entry. And that's what we're talking about here on Bitcoin. We're looking at the one-day stochastics, and we'll zoom in on the 1 hour and get more details on this. Whenever this blue line, which is the stochastic fast, gets under the stochastic slow, orange, you will see red candles right here, red candles, even when it's just poking out, groundhogging right there, sticks its head out, you get red candles. So we were starting to right here form a potential red candle. Right now, there are no red candles instantly forming. Interesting read on the inverse head and shoulder with Caspa. Yeah, it's really psychology is what we're looking at when we see and read into the markets. Of course, this pattern can be invalidated. It's not really a strong head and shoulder pattern right now and currently. All that needs to happen is Bitcoin produces its first red candle. And this is projected to be happening before the weekend. Now, in the other scenario that we hop on side of this, what will happen to Caspa? Are we going to immediately start ripping? Well, we still have this gravitational field to contend with, guys. This is strong resistance, but as we bounce off of it, as we push up on it, it does get weakened. It does get softer. And this golden pocket may have already flipped and started acting as a new x-axis. This is something that we've hypothesized inside VIP. This golden pocket was such a level here that this may have just flipped over and became like the new price channel, never to retrace back down to here. I mean, it could, but far more likely to only retrace to here. Even surpassing this x-axis line and breaking out, we have whole new down channels awaiting us, keeping in mind that all this FOMC data is showing us is a recession up and coming. This is why China stimulated their economy. They want to stop before things get bad. Yeah, and Caspa, I mean, that's just everyday price action for Caspa. We can see it's not going to just move in a straight line. It's going to jump around by at least 1/4 cent every day. Applying those stochastic readings to Caspa, we can see more of a bearish chart. Let's remove the price and just really focus in on these indicators, which are like RSI and MACD. So we can see the fast is trying to change entropy. It wants to get up and going again. And we can see it's done this previously. It'll start zigzagging. The issue is this slow line in orange, it was going straight down and it just started angling out. And it's going to have to really see some upward momentum for the slow line to pick up. So most likely this is not going to completely flip right now, but it will start to slow price down. These three tops on this sort of a MACD type that we call the fuel tank, it's known as the Jenkins oscillator. These are making a series of lower lows, just kind of showing bearish and sideways price motion. So even when we break out, it's not like we're off to the races. We're kind of in more sideways action. And that's what we're really seeing in broader markets. AI and some of these projects that were recently in a bloodbath, they've been seeing some upside. But remember, it's all relative. They were just getting stomped into the ground, beaten senseless. The majority of legacy projects like ICP, they were beaten all the way back down to their May price, right before Powell was raising rates at that FOMC meeting. That's a beatdown. That's not even beating the altcoin market. That's why I'm not a big fan of ICP. It just hasn't been performing at all. It's also fundamentally a very unique project that's one of a kind. Why isn't there more plasma tech projects? In my opinion, ICP is like a pink sheet stock that got listed on crypto, but we're getting off the subject here. So it's all coming down to the next 72 hours where Bitcoin has this double top and an opportunity to start printing red candles, or we pass this very clear resistance and we make a run to 70K. The total three, very, very similar. Yeah, there's awful tokenomics. It's out there. I watch a lot of stock YouTube and people who talk about bonds, jobs, CPI, anyone who covers that information in depth. That's what I like to listen to get tidbits to use ChatGPT. So one of the tools that we have inside VIP is the 84 questions that you can ask. It goes with this down here, all these fundamental things. So we've got the 7 24-point reports. Guess what? Out of these 7 reports, 3 of them were the top 100 performers. Who would have guessed that off the FOMC meeting? One of them we actually gave a no buy to, but it still rocketed anyway because we initially thought it was going to be good when we wrote the report, but then it pulled up so much information. We decided to give it a no buy read. And of course, the price was like $4 and it fell down to like 40 cents. So that no buy read, much more relevant at the time when it was printed. Anyway, plug and play, not something that we would advise to get into. It's kind of like a meme coin. We've got DEAI, Desync, which is an Alex Becker pick, similar to the Ethereum naming service. Spectral, Blender, and then we've got a GameFi project that isn't even listed yet. That's so big. See this $1 million condo that I'm in?
Can we see the paperwork on those?
Exciting now.
There's some rich dudes in here who speak on CNBC. For whatever reason, these guys were grilling me. They're like, yeah, Jesse, bring all your paperwork down, bring your laptop, meet us here at 2:00 because we want to talk about crypto in the market with you. Multiple times. And I realized why they're so interested in talking with me is because they're interviewing retail traders themselves. These guys literally go to the World Economic Forum. They own crypto exchanges. They launch products. Now, these guys are honest, stand-up guys, but other teams get in touch with retail because they want to hide the weakness of their projects sneakily. And the 24-point system reveals everything because we need AI to do so. How many of you guys have looked at a GitHub page? That's where the teams all post the code that they're working on. As laymen, we have no idea what's going on there. We can't read code. We don't know if they're working hard or working at all, or if what they're working on is going to make any money. We can use AI to read the code and tell us what's going on. These guys are painting the cars. They're getting this new product ready to launch. It's almost done. They're testing it now. There's a bunch of them doing it. They're smart. This is what they used to do. We use AI because AI is the best tool we have, and it's a new tool. It's not just an investment class. So we're all about using AI to research and learn. If you're an advanced trader, we built this for you. It's $47 and I'm doing your legwork for you. Do you know how hard it was for me to find this GameFi pick? I forgot to mention the point of my story.
Exciting now.
These guys downstairs that talk on CNBC, that own exchanges, that launch coins, they're telling me about this big GameFi project that's coming out that's got all these connections to Apple. And I was like, dude, I have a report on it already. And they're like, okay, good. We're glad you got that one. It's not listed yet. This is going to crush. It's going to be bigger than Heroes of Mavia. It's going to be fun to play. It's got everything. Going to be a hit. So I've done the legwork for you guys. I read every, remember that screen we just went to? I put this filter here instead of on $10 million. I just went through and I found, show me every single AI project. Okay, this is what I did. And then I changed the listing date to like 2021. And what you pull up is this list. And I read all the white papers. I went through and vetted all these projects. First, you do the 15-minute scan. We're not deep diving, but we can tell, oh my God, this project's terrible. There's no way it's good, just right off the back, right? So we vetted this lit down, and then we went through and we really started combing through. We brought out the AI tools. Agent GPT, way better than ChatGPT. It independently thinks and web crawls, brings up documents you will never find on Google. They're hidden on the internet. It's like a secret hacker thing. I read all these white papers for you guys. That's how we found, and we have reports. We've got 4 AI projects. 3 of them I picked. 1 of them Alex Becker picked. The 3 that I picked, they're in the top 50 gainers right now. Right now. And I've been telling you guys, I have been the most profitable trader. We've got insight into the market because, of course, one of the things I'm vetting these for while looking at the chart is the connection to Satoshi's secret, the bond market, right? We're not in some fantasy world like a lot of these other traders are. We're tying the bond chart that even got GameStop moving way back in the day. We're tying that all together. This chart here, the Caspa FOMC chart. That's exactly what I did for all these AI picks. That's how we literally have a report. All 3 of the reports that we did, they're in the top 50 best performing off this FOMC because they're vetted to rocket when that bond unlocks, except for Blender, which is a plug and play, which we didn't like, but we liked enough to do a report on it. It made it past the initial phase. It was like, I don't know, you have to read the report to figure out what we didn't like about it. But it was like really technical stuff. The team, and they have like dueling tokens and unlimited mandates. And there's some flawed structure that the team is hiding way deep down in there that no one will see unless they use the system with AI. You'll never find it. They hid it in there. But originally thought it was good. We got all the hits and we own them and we're buying them and we're going to buy them more. And this is going to help everybody. Advanced traders, I'm doing your work for you. You got an extra set of eyes on the chart. I'm listening to the bond market news, relaying it back. Okay, good. We're getting a pullback on Spectral. We're getting a little bit of a pullback here on the total 3. Bitcoin's holding strong. But yeah, at least we didn't blow up to 630 right here because we really were anticipating this sell-off. And this China news is really, I mean, do you know how many messages I got about Caspa while it was ripping to the upside here? People are like, are you sure it's going to stop? And I was like, yes, 100%. We're not getting over this trend line immediately. And of course, with Bitcoin's reversal, the discounts on Caspa increase. Otherwise, it's just kind of sideways action and we can pick off and DCA into it. But yeah, so if you're advanced, I'm working for you. I'm putting in the hours that you don't want to do that, man. You do not want to read all those white papers. It is not fun. To find that GameFi pick, that took me 60 hours of not fun stuff. I'll show you this runner-up, which is really an awesome game. This game was winning for how fun and cool it looked to play, which is so important. You know what else is nuts about GFAL? So this one, and it has a cool NFT structure. You actually get to be, if you have the right NFT, you get to be the boss, which is the big guy in that fight. And then everybody else who's on their cell phone, they're like jumping around trying to kill you, and you can win your chance to be the big guy. So that's a whole economy, marketplace, fun game. But it's lacking in other areas where our number one pick is not. GFAL and Lit Labs, those games are not fun. They're like those Pokemon card collecting games. And when you think of Trip Hawkins, yeah, he has a lot of golf buddies that helped him design sports games, but he doesn't have any creativity. Let's take a look at the KII, and we'll tie this into Shell Station right now. So the KII is linked directly to the DII. What we're doing right now is drawing a bridge between Caspa and Shell. And I'm going to explain why. So right here, we can see there's Shell Station. This is the DII. This is the KII. As we know, the chairman of the KII, he's actually also the chairman of the DII. And they were trying
Exciting now.
to build their own blockchain for years. In my opinion, the blockchain they tried to build is called Quitmir, which is the block DAG that used to run on top of oil mills in Saudi Arabia. These guys over here in DII, these are the guys that are so rich. Forbes magazine doesn't even list how much money they have. Speaking of the team, they had an additional member who got removed. He was the dude with dark black hair. He's not on the team anymore, but he was one of the founders of that game Far Cry. Now that's a fun game. These Pokemon games that they're playing on GFAL are dumb. Look at these guys. These guys are super rich. They get to have lunch with the sheik, the princes. They're the oil money. And right now, you guys have probably heard on InfoWars the de-dollarization of the petrodollar, right? They're separating with BRICS and everything like that. They're separating from the United States, knowing it's nothing personal that the dollar is going down. And they want off the ship before it happens. And they're moving not into another fiat, but into blockchain. And this is where Caspa comes in. And now we can actually go over to the Shell website, and they have videos. You can do this on your own, all about how Shell's getting ready to incorporate blockchain in to measure how much gas you're using. And more importantly, carbon credits. So everybody on the team that we were just looking at, they're all experts in energy, and they're all experts in climate initiative. And this is the big move, is that they're developing energy trading platforms on the Caspa blockchain this is why this is so huge for Caspa. AI is like the only number one narrative that they have right now for the distribution phase. Remember, we get the run up once that bond money pushes into the market. Now all your altcoins can build on chain. That lasted a year before. This time it's projected to go into 2027. But it was all this degenerate crypto stuff. It was like nodes as a service. It was Ponzi schemes. You can ask anybody who was around during the last bull market. Once everybody sees the run up, they see Bitcoin hit 60K, a load of new investors come in. And the bull run is a whole different market. That's why we are so early right now.
Can we see the paperwork on those?
In the future, we'll be looking back like, wow, we were super early, because new investors are going to come and they're going to be looking for pullbacks on the coins we own, but they're also going to be looking for the projects getting built on top of what we have, right? They'll go for the Caspa meme coins or the Caspa new listing utility coins. They're not naive. They're not just going to buy Bitcoin after it's already at $150,000. And that's what gets the bull market going. The White House is regulating it this time. So there's not going to be Bored Ape Yacht Club $10,000 or $100,000 JPEGs. It's going to be a whole new bull market. Luckily for Caspa, they have this, because this is a real use case. Let me see if I can pull up this tokenization of carbon credits. Yes. This is already mapped out. They've been planning this for years. The reason why they have to tokenize carbon credits is because the market is extremely illiquid. Of course, they can do the real world assets, but more importantly, they want to get everybody involved. Tesla owns a bucket load of carbon credits, and they have to spend money to be regulatory compliant. What's BlackRock's number one motto? Let's give our businesses an unfair advantage by using climate control, right? And they go around issuing climate control everywhere that you look. Of course, we all know who owns Marathon Digital: BlackRock. And they have just enough Caspa in Marathon Digital, so BlackRock,
Can we see the paperwork on those?
they got all the paperwork. They've got their finger on the pulse of Caspa. And this is why. Because they want to make a big play. Not in crypto, in carbon credits. Because this is what Shell goes into in their website. They're going to go ahead and regulate all your pollution, regulate how much energy you use, and store it on the blockchain. So this makes it way more accounting. There's way less double spend. People can't escape them. They just can't track it efficiently now. When they implement this, it's going to be like Kim Jong-un to the business world in terms of pollution. They're just going to be tracking it all. The reason it needs to be gone publicly is there's not enough liquidity in the market. Here they start talking about price discovery and stuff. So a carbon credit right now is worth like $1,000. Once they tokenize this, they're going to open it up to retail. So right now, Marathon Digital is the only guy that can buy Tesla's carbon credits because Marathon Digital creates pollution because they just do Bitcoin mining. So they're abusing their energy and they're not helping the rivers. I don't know all the details, but you catch my drift. There's not enough people that are buying these carbon credits. They're just kind of evading the regulation and it's not working. No one's buying them. And so they want to open it up to retail. Once they open it up to retail, now you've got DeFi. You've got your DeFi. They're even talking about doing carbon credit GameFi on that document. And this is a much better use of crypto. It's almost like during the last bull run distribution phase, they were just kind of testing out what can happen. This bull run is going to be even longer, and this is good because they're going to actually build real stuff, not just junky teams making junky like NFT, DeFi, degen, nodes as a service, staking, get your money back in 100 days. You'll see this still anyway. Once the bull run starts, it's going to be, oh yeah, buy this NFT or buy this coin and you stake it for 100 days and you get 100% back. That's the going rate. That's DeFi degen. That's what a lot of the bull market was during the last cycle top. And the government's regulating against that. So with Caspa and the KII leading the way, we'll get some actual quality use out of crypto as the technology has increased. And of course, this falls directly into artificial intelligence. So everybody who's watching this stream, highly advise you guys, as other people, members would tell you straight up, great value, helping you learn and grow as a trader. Join the group, check it out. We got the macroeconomics, the pattern directory, videos about that repeating trend line system. So the thing is with Tau, with the repeating trend lines, we're going to know this is a bull flag, right? We're going to know when it's in a downward x-axis, we're going to have additional insight into how low the price can go, when the breakouts are going to happen, when the next resistance is, everything. Exactly like on Caspa, how we've been making just uncanny call-outs all the time. And it couldn't be done without the x-axis system. As we can see, we've entered an angled Fibonacci pitch just in between the gravitational field of this downward price channel. And you can see we're bouncing off of this jungle green here and off the top of the teal as we speak, with the golden pocket being a potential stopping point to find lateral. But we're getting too far into the wick off method. There's just tons of stuff in here. And most importantly, we had to start this channel. We had to do it because everybody else was teaching gobbledygook, just untruths, like right here in May. Everyone who watched this video now knows better. Yeah, we'll look at the Kaspa dominance chart. And what we're going to see is what we just went over with the February, March thing. There's actually, we can go a little bit farther. Now that you watch this video, you know it's part of Satoshi's secret, how crypto's all connected to these bond charts. So when the government's inviting people to buy bonds, we're sitting at that poker table. Remember that intro of me on ESPN winning a poker game? That's a zero-sum game, and we're doing a zero-sum game right now. And if we don't identify who's at the table, you know how this saying already goes. It's not a table that you want to be at, right? So we know who the players are. FOMC, which is the central banks, the teams of crypto, the whales, and then there's other retail. So we know the players. And it's almost like AI is becoming a new entity in general because it's so smart, but that's a whole nother conspiracy theory. Let's take a look at the Caspa dominance chart. This is breaking down to a time delayed catalyst. So going along with the theory that we were just emphasizing about how because the prior bull run cycle was so monumentally powerful, the majority of seasoned crypto investors have a load of misconceptions and ideas that are bringing them away from the stocks and bonds pairing. They're just not making the connection to the bond market, and that's Satoshi's secret. Therefore, all of their fundamentals are incorrect, as clever as they are and, creative thinking that they do. It's not to say that they're not intelligent or smart or don't have anything to offer. It's just the basis is wrong. There's a delayed catalyst because Caspa doesn't have smart contracts. And remember,
Public's out there throwing darts at a board, sport. I don't throw darts at a board. I bet on sure things.
the market makers are only going to bet on sure things. They want rock solid acknowledgement that Caspa is going to have a large distribution channel. And until the smart contracts come on board, that's not a sure thing, is it? What if Jonathan Saplinski gets hit by a car tomorrow? That's why they're waiting. They got plenty of action. They're not, that's how these guys are, man. They're hardcore like that. They have their own system, okay? They have their own checklist, and the problem is they're getting to point number 17, and they're going, yeah, there's no smart contracts. This will create a time-delayed catalyst. So when smart contracts kick off, it'll go ridiculous, which is another reason to start practicing leverage trading now. Because those are some of the gains. You just hit one of those with a 10x. Totally, it's enjoyable. It's fun. We got the entire God candle right on the main channel. You can go back to the November 1st upload. It was right after that FOMC meeting. We're like, yeah, go 10x right here. Very fun to catch. We got these ones, which actually survived the Bank of Japan carry trade, also right here at this inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, looking at this head and shoulders compared to this, there's a lot of ways to invalidate this as a head and shoulders. Specifically, there's not a lot of rounding of bottoms. These are way more jagged. And we actually have a specific video just about that. So when we combine the origin trend lines with the classical patterns, like we were showing with that Caspa symmetrical triangle, it's the cup and handle versus the double top. And it seems like what we're looking at with this inverse head and shoulders and then this, these are two different patterns. And while it could be bullish and it could be that, it's also way too easy to invalidate this as more of a double top. You see what I'm saying? Because the two can go hand in hand. And we analyze a lot of those different setups. So building on that comment, which was good, and I'm glad you brought it up. Okay, so we're bringing this guy into the chat right now called Robert Brown. He's looking at A lot of KRC20 tokens on Caspa, CATScan, huge market caps. Here's my spin on the Caspa. And this is very insightful. On the Caspa meme coins, let's get to welcome to Rhubarb Mania. So KRC20 Casplex is put together with a bunch of different businesses. Ice River Miners, OKX Exchange. Ice River, we realize why they want to be involved. They want the extra fees on their miners so they can sell more units. These guys, look at what they do. Let's get a zoom in here so everybody can read this. So this is top of class branding and identity, web design and development, sales and marketing, branding, event and marketing. These guys are going to create meme coins. They're professionals. Kind of like that guy, what's his name? Matt Furry, who does the Pepe. He's clever, but these guys study psychographics, demographics. They know what age group is buying what meme coins, cats, dogs, frogs, what their favorite color is, what movies they like to watch. This is data. And they'll use that to create the perfect meme coin, like Darth Vader the cat eating a frog, whatever they do. They'll put it all together and they'll make a new batch beyond Nacho later when the utility coins are available. And these will be the big meme coins on Caspa. The ones that we're seeing right now are the early birds, the scrapper teams. These guys are way more mainlined in. They're way better funded. I think that these guys, they need one hit project and the influence. Do they have the influence to get that? They need one Pepe on Caspa. These guys. I might even consider buying their first meme coin if it looks cool and I get a good price. When these guys start launching stuff, they need that one hit for Pepe because they're a company like Matt Furry. You guys know who Matt Furry is, right? He does all those goofy meme coins like Pepe, and then he did a bunch of other ones. Not all of them do good. A lot of them do. And they're going to help other teams that want to build on Caspa with their branding and market identity. That's my theory on who these guys are. They're just going to help teams develop on Caspa with their success. So they're going to abuse their influence and they're going to get a hit project. So I would be using the 24-point checklist to do deep dives on the next phase of memes and try to connect these to Rhubarb Media. And that will be the go-to. Yeah, the stocks are important to watch. And we do take a look at stocks inside VIP. A very important one is MicroStrategies. This is, of course, like the Bitcoin with leverage. And we can see that they wicked up above this kind of double top, which is leaning bullish for Bitcoin, but with all their leverage and collateralization. Yeah. And of course, also watching the Marathon Digital is a must do for Caspa holders. That does not look incredibly bullish to me by any means for the Bitcoin mining, but later on it can get there. So yeah, inside VIP for the advanced people, you're hiring someone to do work for you. Your time is valuable. You want to spend it conducting your own research, looking into projects that you have interest in, etc. By hiring somebody on, you get a larger team. You can use your time more efficiently. For intermediate or even new investors, like you just figured out what a layer 2 is the other day and you're really starting to pick up on crypto, definitely join this group. It's going to take you longer to digest everything. We actually do this inside the Desync white paper. There's a bunch of Web3 terminology. Nobody's going to know. I'm not a coder. I didn't go to college for computers, right? We're laymen. We're working class guys. We know a lot of street smart stuff. We can win a poker game. We want in on this zero-sum game, and we're not going to be intimidated by the educational level that it takes to understand crypto, and we don't need to be with artificial intelligence. So a lot of what we do is just make sure that the everyday guy can do this with a level of understanding that that is an expertise, what to study, because as we know, we have a limited amount of time, right? The bull run starts based on the bond market information that we have in this chart, right? As this bubble pops, it's going to start all over again. We have a limited amount of time and we've got to prepare. This is going to help you use your time efficiently. All of the points that will help direct you into studying, this is helping you work on your own. You're going to open up your super chat GPT or your agent GPT and get to work studying, learning about crypto. This is going to keep you on task, making sure that you can sit around and learn crypto for the next 6 weeks in a classroom. There's guys in my building that code, and they got offered a job at Phantom, a crypto project. You know what his bag is? Doge, Shiba, and Ethereum. That's not a great bag. Just because you understand, but he knows how to build a crypto. He could build a dApp for us. And that's just an extreme example of how much there is to learn in crypto. And what our group focuses on is learning about trading it. That's all we want. We want the money. We want that huge Vegas slot machine rip that, oh my God, you do not have that much money. We want the Lambo, because we want that experience. And this is probably our only way out of the central banks, which have ultimately doomed mankind. And, there's a lot of theories of the working man is losing his day. It's not our grandfather's world anymore. We can't just go out, work hard, save our money. You can't even have a family doing that. You can't afford it. And so this has become the new saber-toothed tiger. And we're ganging up, sharpening spears, to go out there on the attack and get this done. This is the battle that we've got to fight. And of course, I'm wearing the giant saber-tooth tiger head because we crushed everybody. Not only shorting AVAX here, when all your favorite content creators were going long, we knew to short here. And because of this massive bloodbath, as Jane Street was unloading all their legacy coins, we had an eyeball on Caspa. Because of this recent run up in April, and we noticed everything was bleeding profusely, but not Caspa. Caspa started gaining. And right there, we knew.
I pity the fool.
These guys got something going on. Because we know this is a signal. The investment banker types are buying Caspa. And after it happened that one time, when we loaded up after shorting, it just kept happening. And of course, we've been able to do the leverage trades. And then, as we just showed you on the top performing cryptos, so my two side bags, DEAI and Spectral, which we have reports on, they're like the top performing projects market-wide. And we've been loading up on them. Later, in 6 months, right before the run up, or maybe after it, maybe we'll start some GameFis. Maybe we'll do some of those rhubarb media meme coins in a new side bag, as this one's already beefed up, time diversifying. So this will be easy because we've only got 3 positions right now. We're just going to, as the peaks happen, using some of our charting systems, lop off chunks, right? It's less human error. 15 picks, give me a break, right? That's what like Crypto John teaches. You don't want to be that guy, man. Not only are you not going to have fun, you're going to mess it up. You will mess it up. There's no way you're going to get all that money into your pocket. It's going to be popping off on the string left and right. And then the more you mess up, the worse it gets on you. So yes, Scooterville. The FOMC news really sent these up and ripping, but there's still a pullback ahead. I mean, this has happened here. This one's much stronger, but let's not forget. I mean, they're up now. This is all because of the Fed's long-term prediction, how they're shaping the bull market. There'll be another opportunity down the road. Now, in the most bullish scenario, like Bitcoin actually breaks above 65,000, the total 3 starts ripping into new highs, and Spectral is going to take off and hit like $13 or something. I really don't see that unfolding, although it could, and we're ready just in case. But of course, we are trying to maximize value right now. In the end, we're still ultimately early. And the fact is, as long as we get on target, our gains are going to be enormous. So don't let it get you in a negative mind state. Like looking at Caspa historically, look at how bad my purchase was. I was in like here, on like all right around here. As it was rocketing up, we waited for the stochastic pullback, which is something that we're going over in VIP right now. Always when you get your stochastic dip, that's when you buy. So yeah, Caspa was rallying right here. And we could have bought here at 1.5, gets all the way up to 3. We're like, oh, that just doubled up on us. That was dumb. And then we get this pullback and we're like, yup, we're zoinking it here as the stochastic rips to the downside, loading it all up at 2 and stuff. That's our entry right here. In our videos, you can watch that. We're waiting for this to happen here. We're letting the run go down. We could have maybe got in for the same price, but we're just sticking to our guns. Yeah, totally dropped the ball. Could have got it way cheaper. It doesn't matter. Don't let it get you down. It's a year out from now. Everything's moving so fast. Look at Tao. We're getting some downside here on AI. All we need is for Bitcoin to not go ballistic over this weekend, and we'll be right back like nothing even happened. That's why it's important not to FOMO in. But in this scenario, it does go ballistic. We might want to start to pick some up just in case there's like some crazy AI consolidation. DEAI, Scooter, never holds its gains. So do not buy that right now. It has a really hard time holding its gains. So that's going to be fleeting. And we'll get back in on it. Yeah, these pumps are really just the market makers buying, the big dogs buying. They probably want to buy more. So who knows? Maybe they're behind the scenes making sure they get it again at the same price. Retail is the passengers. We're along for this ride. We know who the players are, and we're studying their game. Yeah, hindsight, Yeah, we should have just been loading up here back at this 520 level. But thinking we were going to get it cheaper, probably completely insane. But now we know how good it is, and we'll get another opportunity, probably at least at 7. But we'll see as everything unfolds. All right, guys. Thanks for checking out this late night live stream. I hope that you enjoyed all the special effects. Special thanks to Sin City Crypto. I randomly called up these audio video guys. I was like, yeah, can you guys come up here? And it ends up being the only other person in Las Vegas who does Caspa content creation. And one of the guys was nice enough to come down here and charge me money to set up a live stream studio so we can compete with the Peach Fuzz Mafia. Make sure you subscribe to this channel to help get this quality content to the top. Share it like with your friends, and we will be back online doing more live streams, doing some gem hunts, and breaking down this Bitcoin total 3 top, looking for the retrace or the break to the upside and reacting. Make sure you guys check out the VIP for $47. It's priced wrong because you're just getting way too much value. So kudos to you. We'll catch you on the next one.